Hi guys, welcome back to the Soccer Kicks channel where I give you a full review of football boot releases as well as tips and tricks to get the most out of your product. Today we're going to chat through the best boots to wear on turf, so let's get right into it. In general, there are 4 options to consider when it comes to what you can wear on a turf pitch. Number 1, you have the traditional FG or firm ground boot that is usually pretty aggressive, but there are some you can get away with wearing. Number 2, you have AG or artificial ground, which 9 times out of 10 is going to be your best choice. Number 3, you have FG/AG, which is a hybrid sole plate. This is sometimes a good alternative to a firm ground boot, but there are better options. Number 4, you have the turf option. This is one of the safest in the group, but sometimes leaves you wanting just a little bit more. Let's start with firm ground, the most common boot you can buy today. Most FG boots have bladed and or chevron studs to give you that extra bite when you're taking off. These type of stud patterns like you see on the Mercurial are what makes them sort of dangerous on turf. Because turf fields are made up of synthetic grass fibers, the field is more rigid and makes it tougher to turn. FG boots are great because they give you so much traction, but when you have too much traction, it can be a problem because your knee can get caught while turning. By comparison, when you take off or turn hard enough on grass, your force can kind of dig into the ground and move easier than it would on turf. Now, there are some FG boots like the Tiempo Premier, Copa Mundial, etc. that only have conical studs, so whether you're playing on grass or turf, these are safe options to go with. The FG/AG route is something that has become a usual offering from a few brands lately, especially Puma. This option has been around for about 10 years and can be a decent alternative to FG, but only when it's done right. If you take a look at the studs on an FG/AG boot, you'll notice that there are 2 types of studs you'll see. There is the conical stud option, like on this Adidas Ace, and there's the bladed with chevron studs option, like you see on this Puma Future. Let's break both of these down. The conical studs allow you to turn with ease, so this is great to have when playing on turf. Also, they tend to be shorter and more spread out than FG studs, which spreads the pressure across your feet. The main feature that conical studs and an FG/AG boot option lack is the fact that the studs are usually not hollow. This extra feature is critical because it helps ensure that you can turn easily. Alternatively, you can get an FG/AG boot with more aggressive studs. The mix of conical, chevron, and bladed studs is still dangerous because these studs are built to give a solid bit of traction. Of course, you want some traction, but there is a balance. The best way to think about it is this way. The more traction you have, the more likely you're going to get your foot caught. As a result, if your foot gets stuck on the ground with enough force, this could lead to injury. Now let's talk about AG. As I mentioned earlier, this option will be the best choice for most situations because it strikes a great balance between safety and performance. Understandably so, not many players go for AG because they're tougher to get, can be a little bit more expensive, and they look a little odd. Despite these reasons, I can assure you that it's worth considering this as your top option. If you're mainly playing on turf and you want a safer alternative to firm ground and want to achieve the closest feel to firm ground boots, then I highly suggest investing in a pair of AG boots for a few reasons. They are safer than any FG boot in the market. While there are some FG boots with conical studs, AG boots take it a step further by making the studs hollow. This feature allows you to sink into the turf a little, which reduces traction. As I said earlier, the less traction, the less risk. Another reason to consider AG boots is that the materials often used will hold up better on synthetic fields. In some AG boots, you have sole plates that are built to take a beating and use stronger material where the sole plate and upper meet, so you get a little bit more value. Lastly, you have the turf option to consider. Turf boots are going to be your safest option, and if you don't care too much about getting the most traction and getting that boot-like feel, then this is going to be your best alternative. Turfs are basically indoor shoes with some added traction on the bottom. They are not super aggressive and most come with a ton of circular studs like on this Mizuno Alpha Elite pair. You'll notice the studs are distributed all throughout and they have just enough to give you the bite you need on turf surfaces. Also, this option is going to be your most economical as most of the Elite range pricings are between $120 and $150. These are all of the options you have when considering what to wear on artificial pitches. Bottom line is that you don't want your foot getting caught on the field because it can cause issues, mainly with your ACL. This is more common than you think, and it's such a huge concern in the women's game and other sports like American football, So much so that the NFL are considering the use of more natural grass fields across the entire league. That's it for today. I'll leave you a few links in the description in case you need help finding some of these categories. If you have any questions or opinions about these, leave them down below and I'll answer them as they come. Thank you so much for watching, and if you found this video helpful, please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. See you on the next one.